now it is non-governmental organizations that are being accused of funding the Gen Z protest. However, the government seems to be groping in the dark on how to address the governance issue. It says issues it faces. This is what is a splash today. Running out of excuses. Let me just try to zoom in so that we can go together. Protests. Gen Z have called for demos today and governors are not spared. Dialogue. Talks failed to take place yesterday. It started in schools but grew to national headache. That is a story that you can follow inside the publication on page 4 of the Standard today. Also, corruption case that fell Ruto man at KRA. Kenya Revenue Authority Chairman Anthony Mwaura told the court that the president knew about his graft case, an argument the court dismissed as quite unfortunate and arrogant. And you have a story on page 2 of the publication today. Also, it is all eyes on Kagame as Rwanda votes. He's leading the pack as far as the election and the voting and the counting of the votes is concerned. The election lineup is a carbon copy of the 2017 election when Kagame obliterated his rivals with almost 99% of the vote. And there is little doubt about the outcome this year. You have a story on page 27 of the publication today. And also Kware, why DCI says it's a serial killer. Foul murder. Police yesterday paraded a 33-year-old man. They claimed he's behind the horrific killings, but Kenyans are raising questions on the arrest. You have a story on page 10 of the Standard this morning. Also, mining reforms. That is what we have on the front page of the Financial Standard that comes in handy for you also inside the publication today. All right, it seems we shut down something here that is interfering with the paper review. Let me go back to the Daily Nation. This is what you're waking up on the front page of the Daily Nation. Is this man the serial killer of Kware? That's a probing question. Police says Collins is all right, just a bit of housekeeping there. Police say Collins Joe Maisu Kalisia, 33, has confessed to killing 42 women and dumping their bodies at the Kware dam site. But while detectives have found their main suspect, his alleged neighbors both in city, slum and village say they don't know him. You have a story on page 6 and 7 of the publication today. APRO as state implements 7 fuel levy increase, 115 billion shillings. The state hopes to raise upward of 115 billion shillings by June next year from higher road maintenance levy to boost the pool of funds available to maintain the country's 122-kilometer road network. That is the Daily Nation today. Also, Spain triumph as unlucky England lose in yet another final. Spain's path to European success was forged the hard way, thanks to the remarkable collective effort, while England suffered another agonizing defeat. You have a story on page 31 of the publication today. Rwandans vote in poll expected to extend Kagame's 24-year rule. Voters in Rwanda lined up at the polling stations yesterday to elect their next president, with 66-year-old incumbent Paul Kagame, who has ruled for nearly a quarter of a century, expected to cruise to victory. You have a story on page 20 of the publication this morning. Also, PSs and advisors on Ruto chopping board. That is another story to follow inside the publication today. That is a star. Radical changes among those facing the axe in economic expert David Ndii. And you have a story, that story on page 6. Among those facing the axe is economic expert David Ndii. Success of sweeping reforms will be crucial in determining the trajectory of his presidency. That is on page 6. Gen Z revolt now turns to MPs' hefty salaries and allowances. And this story is on page 4 and 5 of the publication today. Shake-up looms as Ruto team maps 47 parastatals. Civil servants have been thrown into panic following President William Ruto's recent declaration that 47 state corporations will be folded up in cost-cutting measures. The president said state corporations with overlapping roles will be dissolved and the mandate transferred to ministries and state agencies, while others will be merged. Also, tear gas jolted lawyers to fight for Gen Z protesters. That is on page 3. It's a dog life for a woman whose kids were defiled. Despite justice being served, the journey continues to be arduous for a single mother in Kwale whose 2 daughters were defied by a neighbor. And you can follow the story on page 17 of the publication today. People Daily, city deaths, the hard questions. That is what we have as a splash this morning. Just how did a pervert kill 42 women in Nairobi slum without the knowledge of security agencies? That is a probing question that everyone is asking. You have a story on page 3 and 4 of the publication today. And President's new cabinet headache, that is on page 2. Blow to Ruto as High Court declares Schiff unlawful. And Argentina beat Colombia to win Copa America. That is the People Daily today. Also, Gen Z, wana sponsor. That is Taifa Leo. Ruto adai shirika la Amerika Ford Foundation ndilo linafadhili maandamano ya vijana. And you have a story on page 2. Washindi wa Euro 2024 na Copa America. You have the victory here, as you can see. Hoye, Hispania, Argentina, Spain yaliza England katika finali na kutoa kombe la Euro 2024. We have a story on page 20 of Taifa Leo. In Tanzania, mixed views greet government business plan. That is what we have as a splash. The government said yesterday that it wants to see well-established public institutions and corporations in which it has a sizable stake expand outside Tanzania, prompting mixed sentiments from economists and industry experts. That is a story that you want to follow inside The Citizen this morning. And TIC eyes nearly $10 billion in capital inflows this year. That story continues on page 3 of the publication today. Drug kingpin, 4 others handed life sentences. That is another story that you can follow inside The Citizen this morning as well. Daily Monitor in Uganda, Kagame reveals RPF war secrets inside Uganda. Reminiscence, recollection by Rwanda leader that the current Uganda government in its early years tried to thwart Rwanda Patriotic Front's plan to wage a liberation war by sending founders of the rebel group for military training abroad, contrast with President Museveni's own account of his motivation. You have a story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Monitor this morning. And a bumpy ride to 2026, police mount hurdles in Kiangulanyi Western Tour. And you can follow that story on page 4 and 5. All right, let's see what is happening in Rwanda. Kagame secures 99% in partial results, poised for landslide win. That is how the publication is reading this morning. And you can see him here, Kagame casting his votes in the presidential and parliamentary elections at SOS Kagugu polling station in Kinyinya, Gasabo district on Monday, July the 15th. According to partial results announced by the National Electoral Commission, Chairperson Oda Kasizingwa, the RPF Ikotanyi flag bearer Paul Kagame garnered more than 99% of the votes. You have the story on page 3 of the New Times this morning. Police election day security was good as usual, and Rwanda decides how patients in hospitals were facilitated to vote. You have that story on page 4 of the New Times this morning. The East African task for Rwandan leader in new term, from building an economy characterized by high taxes and debt to dealing with the Congo row, the president's job is cut out for him. You have a story inside the publication as well, and some also of the candidates who are running. We have Frank Habineza, Green Party candidate. I'll make sure rates are reduced from 20% charged by banks to 12%. And also we have Felipe Paimana, independent candidate, will introduce pro-poor policies and turn around the agriculture sector. That is also people who are on the running there. Who ordered the extra Uganda oil? That is the burning question that is being asked here. Officials struggle to explain the region of diesel cargo in Mombasa as KRA raises bond fees. And you have a story on page 3. Ruto's dilemma in new cabinet jobs. That is another story you can follow inside the East African this week. And back to, of course, the Standard this morning. Running out of excuses. You can grab a copy if it floats your boat. Right, time to introduce our panelist this morning. And we're joined this morning by Tabitha Mutinda, who is the nominated senator. Also, we're joined by Senator of Makueni. This is Dan Mazo. And momentarily, also, we'll be joined by Kongo Mogeni, who is the senator of Nyamira. And also, we do have with us as well the senator of Tana River. This is Danson Mungetana. So you know what to do. Head over to our X handle at KTN News. Is our X handle. Also, you can follow me at Dibal Ainer. All right, let's hear from Tabitha. Good to see you, Tabitha. Good to see you, Senator Dan Mazo. Danson Mungetana. You looked a bit ruffled this morning. Yeah. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. Fresh from Tana River, fresh from Makueni, and fresh from Nairobi, right? Let's begin with you, Tabitha. It's been a while.
Yeah. But we thank God, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been rough.
It's been rough.
It's been rough, but
the last 3 weeks, almost a month now.
Yes, yeah. So sad for the women who have been killed, and I mean, what we are actually seeing from this young man. You know, it's quite a very sad situation. All the questions that are coming about. I mean, it's logical, of course, to try and ask yourself from the first woman to where things are, and the first woman being his wife, leaves a lot unanswered. But I know with the departments that are there for investigation, the DCI, we look forward for a heavy report and to how this will take place for the last 2 years. No single signal that came about to show any indication. I just saw the mother-in-law to this gentleman saying that the daughter, you know, just disappeared. They were not in communication, but then you ask yourself, did the mother report the daughter was missing? What really transpired? Do you have cases where people reported their loved ones? You know, if more would still come out, then it will give much more answers, because apart from these recent ladies who say that they had a dream that led them to the river, does it mean if we didn't have that kind of scenario, and still will be in a quagmire not knowing that this has transpired? Putting in mind where Kware is, it's a dam site, and so most people, of course, dump waste there. And that waste is still picked up and taken to Dandora dam site. So are we still going to find the 42 bodies? A bit tricky, a bit hard, and very sad. But the police should speed up the investigations and air more reports as far as this sad, inhumane issue is concerned. Yeah.
All right, so questions really abound also on the suspect that has been has been nabbed by the security officers or the DCI. And they're wondering also how they've been quick off the mark to come up with the suspect. They're raising questions about other people that, they've died or been murdered in very mysterious circumstances, but that has not been resolved yet. So questions are arising regarding this particular suspect that they cannot really join the dots. They struggle to do so. Maybe Dan Mazo can tell us more about that. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, let's hear from Tabitha.
Yeah, it's quite unfair, Dibala, this morning to still castigate incompetences within the same security system. And also when they do a good job, we still criticize them negatively by starting to cast doubt that is this the suspect? The issue should be that if you know the killer, then bring them to light. Because police have done the investigation within the shortest time that they could. And we are happy to see that the suspect has been apprehended. The suspect has also confessed. I mean, what do we want? Why do we want to move from a frying pan to the fire by force? This is what we have. This is the reality. The police did their good job and they've been able to arrest this culprit. Then why are we trying to bring doubt? If today this culprit had not been arrested, we'll still be having issues of saying that we are doubting, police are not competent and those kind of stuff. But today, they've been able to do a good job. I listened to the acting IG the day before yesterday when these bodies were being retrieved, and they said that they are going to, get to the bottom of things. They suspect different scenarios. It could be a serial killer. It could be, collusion with the medical team. It could be anything, It was open, And they went down. They've been able to do the investigation. Remember this lady that I mentioned earlier, the one who said that in a dream, said the sister was called by a friend, and she left to meet the friend, but she never came back. So, of course, when you connect the dots and look at the phone call, the last phone call that the sister received, and you connect more dots, because that is also what the DCI brought to light when they connected the dots for the phone calls, and were able to track the young man. They went to his house, they find all these kind of things, It is the high time we also give credit where it's due. The same way we've also criticized, it's also good to give credit where it is, but it is still very sad looking at the number of women who have been killed. The question that actually lingers and left unanswered is what led to that particular killing? What made this young man, because of course he's a young man, he's not too old, to embark on being a serial killer? Where is the story? What has transpired? Actually, that is what we look forward to get to understand, and for it to come to light, for us to be able to dig deeper and get to understand what transpired for someone to start killing their family and just target women, and more so young women out there being targeted by such kind of people. For me, I applaud the DCI. They've been able to do their part. They've been able to bring the culprit to book.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from Dan Mazo.
Yes. Well, I followed this, and first of all, I think we need further investigations, and we need to see the recoveries. Although there is an admission of a young man killing 42 people, we have also seen a young man also dumped somewhere, also was found dead. So will you then tie the two cases together? I don't think we should be. Further investigations need to be done, and I think also police have relaxed in their job. For 42 people to be killed one by one and without, an alarm, and even when these people go missing, their relatives don't make a follow-up to find out, where they could be. When somebody goes completely without contact, one is likely, to ask questions, what happened? But now that he has admitted, we need to find whether he's working with other people, or whether also while he's admitting this offense, there are other people associated with it, and whether also these killings have been mixed up with other killings, because some of the women who are found there, they have the flag stamped on their mouth. Could be, the people who are using the flags were Gen Zs, or have some Gen Zs fallen into this trap also, so that we could have a proper report. And I think with all these killings, from the past to today, we need a public inquiry, probably into each individual case, or an inquiry which is enclosed, so that people with information can come and give more information on all killings, whether this one of a sycophantic person or the ones which have been done by police against the Gen Zs, so that each case and whoever is responsible for the death of young people or whoever people have been killed, then can be brought to book with sufficient evidence. I think a public inquiry is very, very important, other than just the investigations of police on their own.
All right, thank you. All right, Danso Mgatana, good to see you. It's been a while. The last time we checked also, you're part of Sky Team.
No, Dibal. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning to you.
And no, I'm not part of the Sky Team. In fact, we were in South Africa for the Continental Parliament. We were 5 of us, 3 from the National Assembly and 2 from the Senate. Every country sends 5 people to the Continental Parliament, and we discuss issues to do with Africa and take collective decisions. One of the things that was very featuring this time was the question of drugs and drug abuse, substance abuse. We talked also about education in Africa and things like that. So we were just doing the normal work that happens every we have 3 sittings in a year. So every session we go and then we come back. So we did a good job, I think. Myself, Professor Kamar, Esther Pasaris, Rehab Mukami, and Majimbo Kalasinga. Yeah, so when we came back, we went back to Tana River. We all know that we were affected very badly by the floods in our place. And the floods have receded, and it is time for planting. So I'm joining other leaders in appealing to the government to provide the necessary seeds, the necessary support for our people, so that we don't miss this season. Because if we don't get it right in the next 3 months and we get our first harvest, we will have food insufficiency. But for these 3 months, we still need government support. So coming to the issues affecting our state of the nation, when we were in South Africa, we saw all this happening. And again, a lot of people are saying that Kenya has become a leader in many things. Like in this particular issue, they have discussed Kenya as a place where the youth have taken the lead in asking hard questions to the leadership of the nations. And the attitude, therefore, is that Africa, we have a whole youth that is going to ask questions. Today it is Kenya, tomorrow it will be Morocco, next day it will be South Africa, and so on. So the debate is Kenya's democratic credentials are being tested. Yes, you have all these freedoms allowed, everybody is free to do whatever, but you can also see the distractions and whatever. So the debate was around those issues as we watched them from afar. We thank God that it all went well, and we believe that those questions are continuing to be answered because they are difficult questions. Dibal, from my own assessment, we had the first liberation when we were fighting for independence. And in that liberation, we never asked the questions of finance. We had the second liberation when, again, we were asking for constitutional freedoms. And in that second liberation, we did not ask the questions of finance. So from my assessment, these questions the youth are asking, this is the third liberation for our country. And it is sad that it is being marred by violence and deaths and what, which is very bad. But we shouldn't lose the focus that there is a question which is being asked. How is our treasury being run? And I remember when we came back in the Senate, we were just closing the debate on the state of the nation, and I said that people should be fired. We need to drain the swamp at the treasury. Things are being done the same way they were being done. Budgets are being made the same way they were being made in 1980, 1990s. You are a minister. The moment you land in the ministry, you start saying, we need new furniture and whatever, like the previous minister was sitting on the floor. You need new cars, like the previous minister was walking. You also have shocking things, like what we were seeing being exposed, that the president, the deputy president, the prime cabinet secretary, they had a budget of 803 million for cars, you know? So these questions which we are being asked as how are we managing our treasury, I think we shouldn't lose focus on this third liberation. People are asking tough questions. And I'm glad these questions are also going to the counties. I think if we get it right, and this is managed well, the country will come out better. Just like it came out better after the msukosuko of independence, just like it came out better after the msukosuko of, single party, multi-party stuff, and the freedoms associated with the constitution until we got a new constitution. I believe now these questions on financial management and issues to do with that, it will make the country become better. People who will be charged with the responsibility of running government departments, not just in the political field, but everywhere else, where you are CEO or wherever you are, people are going to be more accountable. And the culture is going to come back, that people are going to ask questions. So we've deposited this amount of money. How much are we getting for this? And I think it is positive for this country. My prayer is that there will be no violence. These questions should be discussed, agreed upon, and the country to move forward as a better nation.
Right. Yeah. Let's just drop in Senator Kongo Mugani also, just to hear from him. ODM also is meeting today, so you'll be heading for the PG. I've seen that is mandatory. You should show up without any, of course, reservations or no excuses at all. So today, it seems also the ODM house is divided on whether you should be going for the national dialogue or not. So is this also an impending implosion within ODM?
Dibal, morning.
Morning to you.
And congrats for your new studios.
Thank you.
Only that you left some of us uninformed. We got lost. Now I was waiting on the other side. Till a sympathizer rescued me and said, let me show you where Dibal is. But congrats.
I wanted it to be a surprise, but it seems the handover was not, I didn't want just to preempt. I wanted it to be a surprise to you as well.
It looks nice.
Thank you.
It looks nice. Congrats. First, Dibal, allow me to convey my condolences to Kenyans who have been murdered in Kwara, I believe, Kwara slums. Mm-hmm. It's a very sad thing, Dibal, to just wake up and realize that you live in a country where, if we were to believe the police, one individual has killed more than 30 Kenyans since 2022. And our security organs have never picked it up till somebody dreamed about a lost relative having been, thrown into that quarry. It's really worrying for us as a nation. And if you read the Constitution, the first chapter on fundamental rights and freedoms, I think the first article in chapter 4, the fundamental rights and freedom, is the right to life, the right not to be treated in any inhuman manner, the right to ensure that nobody is killed in any inhumane manner. So that was sad, Dibal, and I think we need some answers from our national security agencies, especially the intelligence unit, how such crime can continue unabated for more than 2 years. If it started in 2022, it means that has been going on for the last 2 years. How do you feel as a Kenyan if you live in a country where one individual can hatch a plan, woo people through phone calls, murder them, dump them somewhere, and that goes unpicked for 2 years? It's a worrying occurrence, and that goes to the doorstep of the president. I think under Article 31, the president has an obligation to ensure that all Kenyans enjoy their fundamental rights, which includes right to life. And again, under the Constitution, is the chairman of the National Security Council. So here's an explanation to the people of Kenya. How secure are we as a people? Is our safety as Kenyans guaranteed? Is a Kenyan in the street sure that they will sleep and wake up and operate in an environment where their security is guaranteed? I think for me, that is a serious fundamental question, that we are not able as a country to guarantee the security of our people. Nobody, Dibal, can guarantee your security other than your government. That's why you pay taxes to the government, so that they can guarantee that you can operate in an environment where your freedom is guaranteed. I hope this is a matter that calls for an address from the president to tell us where the security lapses were, and then going forward, give us a guarantee, because we have spent a lot of money in enhancing our security, including mounting security cameras in many locations. So how can this just go unchecked, that it can happen for all this period? Nobody in the security agencies was able to pick it. It's something that worries me as a Kenyan. I feel like I live in a country that is very insecure, where people who are supposed to be going about doing their activities, enjoying protection from the government, are not getting that protection. I hope that these families will get some justice, and we need to be innovative as lawyers to seek compensation from the government on their behalf, because it is the lapses in the government that has caused the lives of these people. I'm saddened, and I pass my sincere condolences to the family. We hope that once investigations are finalized, we'll get a more comprehensive report from the security forces. Just telling us that the acting IG has transferred police officers is not enough. I want Senator Mutinda and all of us to wake up knowing that we are in a country where the government of the day is ensuring that our safety is guaranteed, and the safety of the people we represent all over the Republic. Now about our PG, we don't have a PG today.
It's not today,
but
there's a meeting. What is the meeting?
It's not today. That confirms to me that you are very...
No, from the publications.
You are impartial. You're not a member of ODM. You'd have known.
I didn't get the memo.
Which is good. We don't have a PG today.
There's no meeting today.
There's no meeting. There's no meeting today. There's no meeting today.
Okay.
Get it from me.
Okay.
There is no meeting today. We'll hold it.
So you didn't get any text from the minority leader.
Maybe he has been abandoned.
Oh, he's been abandoned for some time.
Maybe he has been abandoned.
Which side of the divide is he? Are you pro dialogue or?
We are the insiders. We know these things more than Manzo. So take it from me that
I'm familiar.
There will be no meeting today, but we are organizing to hold.
But they are cousins.
To hold one suit.
One suit.
Yeah, don't go by those texts you see. When I'm here, I'm not speaking on behalf of ODM. So there will be no PG today, but we shall hold one soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and
we'll speak to it. We'll speak to it. Just let us just run by the stories as well, so that we can get a gist of what was happening as well. Where the government presented a man suspected to be behind the gruesome murder at the quarry dam site in Mukuru kwa Jenga. According to Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, Director Mohammed Amin, the suspect Collins Jumaisi Kalusha confessed to killing 42 women between 2022 and July 11, 2024, including his first wife, and dumping their bodies at quarry. However, many Kenyans are questioning how a serial killer could operate undetected for more than 2 years. Here's KTN's news editor, Francis Ontoma.
Following intense public outrage, the government officials have identified this man as the face of evil, a man they describe as full of hate and a psychopath. Detectives paraded 33-year-old Collins Jumaisi Kalusha as the prime suspect behind the horrific killings at the quarry dump site in Mukuru kwa Jenga, shocking the nation. However, questions have emerged about the integrity and truthfulness of an investigation filled with controversies that concluded in just 72 hours. For a man who rented a house in the slums, how did he manage to butcher his 42 victims without anyone noticing for 2 years? Additionally, how did these escape the notice of Kware police station, which is barely 200 meters from the crime scene where he is believed to have dumped the bodies? KTN News asked investigators to reveal Collins' house in Kware Mukuru kwa Jenga, but they declined, citing the ongoing investigation. Activist Hussein Khalid has claimed on X that he is yet to find any acquaintance of the man labeled the prime suspect in his supposed Kware neighborhood. In a country where murder plots often take ages to unravel, the speed and haste in presenting the suspect has puzzled many Kenyans on X. Some have questioned how the suspect managed to evade the law for so long. Take the case of Rita Waeni, the young girl who was killed and her body dismembered in Roysambu. Despite evidence from CCTV cameras, her killers are still at large. Similarly, the story of the Kianjakoma brothers who were brutally killed in 2022 and Chris Musando, whose death remains a mystery to date, raise questions about the efficiency of the Kware investigation. To date, the government is yet to disclose the number of people who died during the Gen Z protests, especially in Parliament where scores were sprayed with bullets. At the city mortuary today, families of missing persons converged to view bodies from the Kware dump site and to follow the autopsies. Even for the solidarity that comes with crowds, most families here are facing a solitary grief, and they're here camping the entire day, just looking for closure. Francis Ontomoa, KTN News, City Mortuary, Nairobi.
And NAC Kenya leader Martha Karua has dismissed calls for dialogue, terming them unnecessary. The national conversation that was set to begin yesterday still has no bearing, with details very scanty. Karua, who is also part of the Azimio One Kenya leadership, also called for investigations into the killings and recovery of bodies in Kware, Mukuru kwa Jenga.
What dialogue is necessary to get all the senior officers in Nairobi who have been in place when this is happening to go home or be suspended? What dialogue is needed to get police officers whose faces have been in the media shooting wantonly, killing people? What dialogue is needed for them to go home? And what dialogue is needed on corruption? What dialogue is needed for the clear message to William Ruto and his regime that they must exit the stage? We are asking, is it possible, the way the DCI was explaining today, that an individual can murder more than 10 women, dismember them, place them in sacks, transport them to a quarry next to a police station without detection and in a crowded area. The only people with the capacity to do that kind of industrial scale criminal enterprise is state agencies gone rogue.
The family of KCA college student Sami Cullen Minor, who was reported missing during the anti-government protest, is seeking for justice after his body was found in the city mortuary here in Nairobi. Minor, a 24-year-old Bachelor of Mass Communication, disappeared on June 25th during the Occupy Parliament protest. The police say that Minor had died in a road accident, but the condition of his body tells a different story. Husna Mohammed has more.
The number of deaths related to the protest seems to be rising, with Sami Cullen Minor among those who lost their lives. The 24-year-old Bachelor of Mass Communication student went missing on Tuesday, 25th June, during the Occupy Parliament protest.
We got some information. There's somebody who told us that they'd been together with him at Industrial Area Remand. So we went to check at Industrial Area Remand, but they told us that the records office had been closed. So we had to come back on Sunday. At the same time, the group of friends who had been searching for him had come here at City Mortuary, and they were told that they couldn't be let in because of the issues about what's happening at Quarry.
His family described him as a funny and calm young man.
Sami was a charismatic person. Anywhere he is, there is chatter, there is laughter. So he's someone in an audience, he's a game changer, he's a game maker.
The widely circulated pictures of Minor's body show burn wounds and signs of mutilation. Despite this, the family claims they have been pressured to sign an undisclosure agreement stating that Minor died in a road accident.
The officer we were directed to was sort of forcing us towards a certain direction. When he was doing the statement, he was forcing us to sign a statement that indicated that we had positively identified the body and also positively identified the cause of death as an accident. So we had a disagreement on that because we told him that we couldn't do that because we were not there at the scene of the accident and we had no technical knowledge of deciding who died in an accident, who died in what manner. So I'm asking, okay, you're saying it was a hit and run. There are cameras on Thika Road. Why can't you show us vehicles that were passing on Thika Road at this particular time? And he says apparently there's no camera that works on Thika Road. Now, how is that even possible? You know. So we tell them, okay, this kid was walking around. It's a very busy place, according to the time they're telling us. At 10, I was saying the accident happened at 10. Was there any witness to the accident? There's nobody who saw the accident happen.
They believe there is a conspiracy to cover up the true circumstances of his death.
So these are kind of information that we're getting, and we want to get the story. We really want to get to the bottom of this. There's nothing much to it. You know, Sami died, let him soul rest in peace, but we need to know exactly what happened to him so we can have closure on the matter.
Since the body was discovered on Sunday, the family has been waiting for a post-mortem to determine the exact cause of his death.
I still believe that everything that is found, and especially where life is concerned, should be documented. That is a piece that we don't have up to now from the police. Maybe it is their confidential report or their confidential recording. We don't have that as for now.
Minor, who was the fifth child in a family of 6, has left a significant gap in his family. Husna Mohammed, KTN News, Nairobi.
And despite the Gen Z demonstrators or protesters claiming they are leaderless, the government remains unsure about who is financing the protest. President William Ruto, while on a development tour in Nakuru County, suggested that the Ford Foundation is funding the protest with the intention of interfering with Kenya's democracy. This contrasts with the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's recent accusation that the National Intelligence Service is plotting to frame him and former President Uhuru Kenyatta as the financiers and the planners of the protest. Ken Gachu has more.
The Gen Z-led protests have been described as some of the most organized and peaceful demonstrations in Kenya, with the group insisting they are leaderless and without a financier. However, President Ruto offered a different perspective during his development tour in Nakuru on Monday, claiming that the Ford Foundation, an non-governmental organization focused on enhancing democracy, is the main financier of the Gen Z protests.
Shame on them, because they are sponsoring violence against our democratic nation. Mimi nataka niulize watu wa Ford Foundation watuambie hiyo pesa wanatoa ifanye fujo ndio wapate faida gani?
The president's claim showing that the government may not be certain on the actual financier, especially considering his deputy's recent allegations against the NIS.
Nurdin Haji was trying to put up a team together to craft lies and propaganda and attribute the chaos that were in the country to leaders. I included, former President Uhuru Kenyatta and others. Yet it is very clear, and the president has admitted, that these protests were caused by the anger of the people of Kenya and their refusal of Finance Bill 2024.
During the tour, President Ruto said that he would unveil a new cabinet next week after consultations, emphasizing that he will not compel any party to participate. His comments follows a statement from a section of the opposition leaders declaring that they would not participate in the national dialogue.
I am ready, I am willing, I am prepared to consult and work with leaders who are willing to consult and work with us. Sisi tuko tayari kabisa. Lakini kama mtu hataki, hatuwezi kumlazimisha. Kwa sababu Kenya ni nchi ya demokrasia.
Huyu rais wetu tunamsaidia. Na yeye juzi amevuja baraza la mawaziri, atafute wafanyikazi. Kuna kiongozi anaweza faulu bila wafanyikazi? Atafute asitafute? Atafute watu wazuri. Watu ambaye wako na bidii, watu ambaye hawana kiburi.
In response to the rejection of the Finance Bill 2024, Ruto stated that his administration is raising more revenue to fund development projects such as roads through the Roads Maintenance Levy, which was recently increased by 5 shillings per litre of petrol and diesel.
Sasa tutakuwa na pesa ya kutengeneza hiyo kwa sababu tumepanga mambo ya levy, na hiyo levy tumepanga kwa utaratibu ndio isiongeze pesa wananchi wanalipa pale kwa petroli ama kwa diesel.
Wakenya mko na nafasi saa hii kutoa maoni yenu ya supplementary budget 1 na iko available katika website ya Treasury na kila mahali, na deadline ni next week Monday. Jisomee, jiangalilie.
The president also warned that Kenya might soon withdraw from the East African Court of Justice statute if the regional court fails to lift a 20-year-old caveat imposed on land at the edges of the Mau Forest.
Na nimeambia hiyo watu wa kotini kule Arusha. Mambo ni ngapi? Mawili. Either watoe caveat ama tuhame kutoka kwa hiyo koti.
Ken Gashuhi, KTN News.
All right, and those are the stories as well. As you can see, also we have cartoonists from the dailies who have taken and captured this raising of accusatory fingers to the Ford Foundation, and the blame game continues apace. It's all Ford Foundation's fault. As you can see, the IMF steering this particular car, or the mini models, which is the economy, and is saddled with the Finance Bill 2024. There it is. This is according to Victor. My hands are clean. As you can see it here, we have those, should we call them body bags, right now that are coming out from the quarry. Those macabre killings as well. And the police is saying my hands are clean. This is what Stano has drawn. Inside the People Daily, Kenya Anza, right? Anguka nayo, this is Kenya Kwanza. As you can see, we have the wordings or the letters now peeling off the wall. The K and the W, right, is Kenya Anza. Or I'll leave it for you to decipher this. Anguka nayo. And in politics, no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, but permanent intercepts. This is Patience Johnson's sentiment there, and you can see there are no foes in politics. They might not be seeing on the same page or looking on the same page, but tomorrow they'll be selling together. And that is what is happening with the government of national unity and the national dialogue. Same script, different casts. All right, this is all about also the macabre killings as well, and the transfer seems to be the prime solution, according to Ozone. And mambo ni mengi. As you can see, it's no longer mambo ni matatu. As you've been seeing, mambo ni mengi. And that is now the former IG Kome, and also the cabinet that fell down. As you can see, literally the cabinet fell into pieces there. There's some of editorial cartoons. And they're saying, Baba, I need analog solutions to obvious issues, right? It seems now the paradigm has shifted.